Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet Torah. Okay, today we're going to talk about this incredible mitzvah of the Arba Minim, the Lulav and the Esrog and the Aravot and the Chadasim. It's this beautiful mitzvah that Hashem gave us. And we're going to talk about how this mitzvah, it has this spiritual power that Hashem has imbued in it. And we're going to talk about a little bit of how it works. That we can affect the environment, we can affect the climate, as people are liking to talk about so much these days, and we can affect it in a positive way for this year. So what we're doing is we're asking Hashem, we're asking this infinitely, powerful being, this infinite being, this one unique infinite being people call God, we call Hashem, this very holy and powerful name, Yud Hey Vav Hey, we call him Hashem, the name, and Hashem has given this mitzvah to be his partner to affecting the rains for this year. And it says in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, in the first parak, the first chapter, the second Mishnah, it says there's four things that are judged throughout the year. Let's look at it real quickly. So on Pesach, on Passover, Hashem judges the world for all the produce, everything that's going to grow from the ground, all the vegetables. Are we going to have great produce that year? It's judged on Pesach, on Passover. On Atzeres, on the holiday of Shavuos, Hashem judges the fruit of the tree. Are we going to have really abundant fruit in the tree? Are they going to be delicious this year? And then Rosh Hashanah, in Tishrei, everyone, the whole world, they cross before him like the children of Maron. And the Gemara says it's like a line of sheep. We walk before Hashem and he judges us. We know that we're judged on Rosh Hashanah. And it says, Hayotzer Yachad Libam, that he formed their hearts together. Formed their hearts. Hamevim es kol ma'asehim. And Hashem knows, he understands all of our actions. He knows deep into our thoughts and our actions. But then it says, Ubechag, on Sukkot, on the festival of Sukkot, Nidonim Alamayim, that the world is judged upon the water. So what does it mean? So this holiday, we're going to see, later in the holiday on Shmini Atzeres, we're going to pray for the rain. And then we're doing this beautiful mitzvah of the Arba Minim, the Lulav and the Esrog, and we wave it. We wave it in four directions. So we face to the east. First we wave it to the right, which is south. We go behind us to west, we go over this way. We look in my directions. This is east, west. So this is I think this is north, and then we go east, and then we go up, and then we go down. We wave it. Sorry if I didn't get that correct, but we wave it in all six directions, and we do this through the Hallel, where we're singing praise of Hashem. Another mitzvah. Just this month of Tishrei is just packed with mitzvahs. Now, I want to talk a little bit about science and about the spiritual science of the Torah, the Kabbalah. Now, my background, this Elozman, I started teaching 10th grade physics at Rosh Yeshiva Schlanger's Yeshiva here in Baltimore. It's called I think it's called the Beis Midrash and Mitzvah of Baltimore. That's its official name. And I think science is very important. It's very important to me. I think it's very important to study. And I think also the Torah is extremely important for people to study. And if a person wants chachma, if he wants wisdom in his life, learn. Open yourself up to wisdom. Learn. Don't say, "Oh, this, this is not for me." There's all this great wisdom that Hashem's put into the world, and He's given us this great intellect to learn it. I think science is important. When I was a kid, I loved science. I loved biology, chemistry, physics. I like math, like trigonometry, geometry, calculus. I've always found these things interesting. The Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, he was a physician for Saladin, the famous king, the Kurdish king of an empire, and he was in Egypt. And Rambam says in his Yesodei Torah that it's important to study the Ma'aseh Bereshis, to study the things that Hashem's created, and it leads us to a Havas Hashem. It leads us to a love of Hashem. Now, I think it's important for people, especially people who are learning the Torah, to also learn, about the sciences. Now, here's the one caveat. I think it's disturbing how science is also being distorted. There's politicians that talk about this climate change, and they say science says, and science doesn't say anything. There's no such thing as science. It's like they've made it into this avodah zarah. They made it into this false god where they speak in its name. No, science uses a rigorous method called the scientific method. And if people are not using the scientific method, I would be careful of those sciences. There are sciences where there's extreme, experimentation and prediction of results, and they hold closely to the scientific method. And you'll notice that those sciences, yield the most discoveries. And then there's sciences that are very loose on the fringe, that like to put themselves into the world of science, but they're not rigorous with the scientific method. The scientific method, it's just it's a discovery of the Maisa Bereshis, of what Hashem's created in this physical world. Now, there's higher worlds, there's higher spiritual worlds that the Torah teaches us. And the highest level of the Torah, the Sod level of the Torah, it's called Kabbalah, which means we received it from Hashem. We received this wisdom from Hashem at Har Sinai, at Mount Sinai, through Moshe Rabbeinu, through Moses. There's a higher spiritual science. So there's the physical world, and then above the physical world, there's higher and higher worlds. Now, when we look into the sky, the nighttime sky, and we see the planets, and we see the the stars and the mazalos, the constellations, these become more and more spiritual. And then there's worlds. That's the Shemayim, that's the heavens, and then there's the Shemaya Shemayim. There's higher spiritual worlds which we can't see through the most powerful telescope. Now, why am I saying all this? I think there's this. It saddens me that there's not this lack, of desire for wisdom right now in this age, and I think there's people that are distorting, this climate change. Like, yeah, we can affect the climate. We can do things like we can take care of our world that Hashem's given us. Don't pollute. Recycling is good. But when the politicians are just after like a tax, a carbon tax, where they just want to suck in billions of dollars from taxpayers around the world, be very careful. Because if you look at their own actions, they don't believe what they preach. I mean, they fly to their fancy, like conferences about climate change in private jets, and they use huge cars, and they don't care about their so-called carbon footprint. Now, I want to come back to the Torah for a second. Hashem is this all-powerful, infinite being. So when we wave, when we wave the Arba Minim, when we wave the Lulav and the Esrog, you say, what is it? Magical powers? Chas v'shalom. There's a mitzvah that we don't practice kishuv. We don't practice any form of magic. Now, if you want to say to yourself, magic doesn't exist, I'm sorry, but you may be a muggle. And you may not be aware that there is magical groups still very much in existence in the 21st century, and they do practice magic. Now, how much effect they can have on the world, it's all dependent on Hashem. Hashem's in complete control. None of these groups control the world. But the weather, the rain, how much the crops grow, it's very much affected by Hashem's judgment. There's one powerful, infinite being. Now, He's letting us help Him. He's letting us participate in this beautiful mitzvah of the Arba Minim during Sukkot, where we can bring a better judgment. We're asking for rachamim, from mercy and compassion from Hashem, to bring a year filled with pleasant rains, and not harmful, destructive rains like the hurricanes and the tsunamis and the tornadoes. Not destructive weather, but we want pleasant and good weather. We want peaceful weather. We want shalom in this world, and that is what the Torah. We are Hashem's partner. And all these mitzvahs of the Torah, by learning the Torah and doing the mitzvahs, we are asking Hashem to have rachamim on the whole world. And this is the one special holiday, Sukkot, where for the root 70 nations of the world, we brought offerings for every nation of the world on the holiday of Sukkot. This is the holiday for everyone. This is the holiday that the Nevuah says all the world's going to come one day when Mashiach comes, and come to Yerushalayim and celebrate the holiday of Sukkot. And this is the holiday that's most tied into us trying to bring blessing for the whole world. So please, if you've never done the mitzvah of the Arba Minim, or the Lulav and the Esrog, if you've never done this beautiful mitzvah, please, and if you care about the world, you care about the environment, this is the way we can affect it in a positive way. This is the way we can pray to Hashem, beg Hashem, please give us great weather this year, give us a great climate. Please go. I mean, there's so many kiruv rabbis all around the world just waiting for you to come through their doors to do this mitzvah. But if you want to affect the environment, if you want to affect the weather in a good way, do this beautiful mitzvah that Hashem has given us during Sukkot. And this is the Zman Simchasena. This is the time of our happiness. This is the time where we bring korbanos for all the nations of the world. This is the time we live in our sukkahs, the mitzvah sukkah for 7 days. And it's the time of our happiness, because this is the time we feel so close to Hashem. So I hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, throughout this year, I hope to teach more about the relationship of science and Torah. I hope to do shiurim, little Torah videos here called Torah and Physics. And I hope you'll enjoy it. And then maybe we'll branch out later and we'll do more Torah and chemistry, Torah and biology. And I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet Good Torah.